Soft skill, one of the social topic of Agile. We will not talk about monitoring, planning in this particular section or this particular lesson. We will talk about the soft skills, and primary audience of this lesson is a Scrum Master, because Scrum Master primarily, or the traditional project manager, has to be very emotionally intelligent. So this particular lesson need to be looked from a agile coach, from a Scrum Master point of view. And here is the agenda. We will talk about emotional intelligence, we will talk about team stages, a collaboration and high performance team, which is like a kind of topic which usually gets seen in an exam, conflict resolution and conflict management, agile leadership and agile coaching. So emotional intelligence often measured as an emotional intelligence quotient, EQ, and it is a measurement of ability to manage and assess emotions of your own as well as of others. So the ability to assess and manage emotions of his own and of a group is emotional intelligence. So these are the four attributes of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. So self-awareness means the individual is aware of his or her emotions. The individual understands his strength, weaknesses, and has a self-confidence. Self-management, now this is an attribute where the person can control his emotions. He can control the feelings, he can control the impulse behavior, he can control the negative feelings and change them and manage the emotions in a way to give a positive results. For example, if the person is feeling down and he is aware, the self-awareness will help him to understand that he is feeling negative about an issue. The self-management skill is a second level skill where he recognizes the problem and then he does something to change that. So he says that I want to change my feeling into a positive feeling for this particular issue, and he manages his emotions and changes it to a positive direction. So the two attributes we're talking about the self, the remaining two attributes are talking about the group. So social awareness, where the person can feel the emotions, assess the emotions of others. So he feels comfortable socializing with people. He has a capacity to recognize the power dynamics. He can recognize how people react to a problem. So he has a capacity where he can understand the emotions of others, the group. And the relationship management is a capacity or a skill where he can manage the emotions of others. So he can communicate as per the emotion of a receiver. He can change the person perspective for a given issue. Like he understands the person is feeling negative about an issue. The capacity to change the negative emotion into a positive emotion is a relationship management. So here the relationship management helps the person to develop and maintain a good relationship, communicate clearly, and inspire and influence others. Team stages. Now in Agile literature we see a Suhari. There are 3 stages of team, and traditionally we have been learning or analyzing the 5 stages of team. So these both of them are kind of related, but from a different perspective. So Suhari, the Suhari is coming from a martial art, and the Shu is a stage where the person is new to the system. He just need to follow the rule. So whenever you start adapting Agile, the team is at a Shu stage where they just need to follow the rules, and till the time they understand the values behind those rules, they need to practice it without looking for any deviation and need to get into the values of those particular practices. Once they understand the principles, the values behind those practices, then they reach at a Ha stage. At a Ha stage, they can break the rule. So they can break the existing practice rules, but by breaking, they keep the value and principle intact. So they understand that we are doing this particular activity to achieve these values, and this is why we are doing, because we believe in these principles. Now they create a deviation in that particular, they can create a deviation in that practice, still adhering to the same values and principles. And once they become mature in that stage, they may reach at a Re stage, where they start creating their own rule, where they have mastered the art and now they are creating a new rules to get the faster, the more effective implementations of values and principles. So the team moves from Shu Ha Re. Now it's not necessary that team would be at a one stage all the time. It could be that team is at a Shu stage in some of the practices and a Ha stage at others, and may keep moving from Shu to Ha and Ha to Shu in iterations till the time they settle down at a one particular level. Now if you talk about traditionally, we start from a team forming, we form the team. Then initially they storm with each other because they don't have a good gelling with each other. So they move to the storming stage, and then the norming stage comes when they start understanding each other's strength and weaknesses. So they start respecting each other. That's the norming stage. And once they start building on each other's strength, they start performing. So performing is the fourth stage, and once the project is done, they adjourn. The adjourning comes where the team get adjourns. Now the agile leader or the scrum master need to change his approach as per the team stage. So the forming, storming, norming, performing, like situational leadership talks about that if team is at a forming stage, the leader has to direct. If the team is at a storming stage, leader has to coach. Team at a norming stage need to be supportive. When they start performing, the leader should go away. He should start delegating. If you talk about Shu Ha Re stages, when the team is at a Shu stage, the leader, the scrum master, has to teach scrum rules. He needs to focus on ensuring that team understand the rules and practices of agile or scrum. Ha stage, because team has already mastered the practices, they already understand the values. The scrum master or the agile coach just mentor. He raises the right amount of questions. Whenever the team is taking a deviation, he helps the team to identify the alignment between the new deviation with the existing practices and the values which they are meant for. Advising, it's a stage where the scrum master or agile coach takes the complete back seat. He only advises when asked, because the team is at such a mature level, they are making their own rules. Whenever team feels that they need an advice from a scrum master or an agile coach, the scrum master or an agile coach comes into the picture and start advising. So until now, say you may get a question which is based on the situation, and your behavior may vary, especially between teaching and mentoring. Mentoring and coaching is the same thing for as far as agile literature or PMI-ACP exam is concerned. So by default, you should assume that you have a self-organizing team. If the question is not giving you an indication of a team stage, by default you should assume that team is at a half stage where they just need mentoring and coaching. They don't need teaching. But if the question is talking about the team is very new, they don't understand what agile is all about, then you should put your pointer to a teaching stage, and then you need to bring a teaching behavior out as a scrum master, as an exam taker. Collaboration and high performance team. Now collaboration is, let us read this definition. When a property of a system cannot be tracked back to any of the individual part in the system, it is called an emergent property. Your personality is an emergent property of your brain. It cannot be traced back to the individual neuron. So when the team produces the emergent output. The team is collaborating. When the team output is not only the total sum of their input, so when the output is not the sum of A, B and C's, it is more than that, and the output which none of the individual could have imagined before that. So emergent, the collaboration produces an output which are beyond the expectation of the individuals, because they build on each other's strength and produces an exceptional output. So collaboration is where team produces an exceptional result. The output is more than the total sum of their effort, the total sum of individual capacity. Now, from exam point of view, you should always remember that there is a difference between cooperation and collaboration. And cooperation is an first stage of collaboration. Lot of team will do good if they can just achieve the cooperation. Collaboration is not always needed until unless you are doing a very new product development and very exceptional work, where you have to create a team which build the exceptional product, which need to visualize something which does not exist at that particular time. Now cooperation is where the output is the total sum of all the individual inputs. Now lot of time, if we have 3 people, the total output is not the total sum of these 3, because lot of time has been spent where the energy, the effort was not aligned completely. So cooperation is a stage where everybody efforts is aligned and they are producing, they are building on each other's strength, they are producing the output which is a total sum of their input capacity. And cooperation is a first stage of collaboration. Now, in order to achieve a collaboration, you need to teach your team first cooperation. And then you need to encourage their ego, you need to give them a goal and create a bonding in individuals, and we should have a collection of diversified skills, people from diversified background. So if you have people from diversified background, diversified skills, and once they have achieved cooperation, then you need to encourage give them a challenge them, you need to encourage their ego, you need to build an atmosphere of respect, courage, all the agile and XP and values, and that helps you to create an individual collaborator. And once you have a collaboration in a team, you create a high performance team. Now, high performance team is a concept within organization development referring to the team, organizations or a group that are highly focused to their goals and achieve superior business results. So if you have a collaboration in team, the team becomes high performance team. And high performance teams outperform all other similar teams, and they outperform expectations given their composition. So they produce something which nobody could have expected coming out from that particular composition. Now when we say that they focus on their goal, always remember from your exam point of view, the project is just a part of your life. Project goals are important, but they are not beyond the government, they are not beyond the country, they are not beyond your personal life. So you don't have to break the law for the project goals. Projects are important. We need to focus on business results, but there are few things which comes before the business, like country, the rule and regulation, the family values, the moral values. They remain always important. So sometimes you may get a question on ethical project management ethics, and at that particular time you should always remember you should never pick an option which talks about break the law and give a benefit to the project. Now, what do you need to create a high performance team? You need the right people, a commitment and empowerment team. You need to establish trust in them. You need to work at a sustainable pace. And as an output, as an observation, the high performance team reflect consistent, stable, high velocity. Characteristics of high performance team: they have a participative leadership. They do a participative decision making. They have an open and clear communication. They value diversity. So you have a diversified people in your team. They have a mutual trust. They do have a positive conflict. So they manage conflict. It's not like that a high performance team work under a zero conflict situation. They have a positive conflict. So one level of conflict are good to have. They have a clear goal. They have a good relationship. That is why they show a cooperation, and they have a good and positive atmosphere. Conflict resolution. Now, 11 reference book, one of the 11 reference book from PMI recommended literature talks about 5 levels of conflict. It says that level 1 conflict is where problem to solve. People have different opinion, misunderstanding, but they want to discuss it, and they are only focusing on the problem to solve. The level 2 conflict is a disagreement, where the self-protection has become important. So people do have a disagreement, but they believe the person was right. So this is a problem, but I am right. I have not done anything wrong. That is a type of behavior, that is a type of statements starts coming out. The contest, a level 3, where people start beginning to align themselves in a groups. So like this is all, the developer always suffer, or the tester always suffer. This location always has a problem. So they create an issue which is a group level issue. They try to align that this is between issues between a developer or a tester. This is an issue between a location 1 or a location 2, or a business analyst or someone else. The third level, crusade, where team believes that nothing can change. The people on the other side will not change. The only solution is either I leave the team or the other person leaves the team. So crusade is a stage where people leave are not hopeful. They are hopeless about the conflict situation. And this is the final stage, world war. It is a stage where people are only focusing on harming each other. They are not focusing on their own win, but they are more focused on what to do to make somebody, the other party, lose. It's not necessary to win the game, but it is important to make other person lose the game. So what to do as a Scrum Master, as a Agile coach? What to do when you have a conflict in your team? Do nothing is an option. So you wait for a team to resolve it. You wait a self-organizing team to resolve it. If you find that the conflict is at a level 1 and things are going positive, you may not do anything. You just leave it to them and let them resolve it. Analyze and respond. The traditional way of a project manager's way of resolving conflict, where you take the leadership role, where you become the driver of the problem, and you start analyzing the issue, and then you are the one who is dealing with the conflict. So that is called analyze and respond, which is least preferred model in case of Agile, because we expect Scrum Master and Agile coach to stay at the back. Use structure. This is a way of resolving conflict where the Agile coach talks about Agile values, principles, ceremonies, practices, roles. So he re-emphasizes the Agile framework, and he resolves the conflict by doing it. So for example, if the product owner is not following or not performing his role well, then the Agile coach just re-emphasizes the role and responsibility of a product owner, and by doing that he resolves the conflict. Reveal. So this is the best possible way of resolving conflict, and in this the Scrum Master or the Agile coach explains the conflict model. He have a coaching session. He organized a coaching session with the team and talks about all the levels of conflict and ask at which level we are, what should we do, what kind of language we are using. So let us analyze where are we and what should we do to bring our conflict level down. So here in a reveal, he reveals the conflict model, the conflict theory to the team members, and let them visualize and let them identify where they do stand, and ask them to bring their conflict level down or bring at a level 1. So where we have a healthy disagreements. So a bit detail on analyze and respond, which is like a traditional way of resolving conflict. So if you are at a stage 1, a problem to solve, so the Scrum Master or an Agile coach may work with in a collaboration. He seeks a win-win situation. He tries to develop a consensus. If the people are at a disagreement stage, he starts giving them a support. The person who is not feeling safe, he provides a support empowerment, so the person feels safe about his situation, and the conflict level reduces to a level 1, and then the problem gets discussed and solved. So the analyze and respond, the main focus of conflict resolution is bringing the conflict level down to a level 1 and resolving it. So whatever we do at a upper level, is the goal is to bring it to the down, and we have a level 1 conflict, and then we resolve it. Level 3, where the Scrum Master or Agile coach try to accommodate, try to negotiate, and focuses on the data, help the team, the group, to look at the data rather than on the perceptions, and try to make them understand, like they accommodate their complaints and bring the conflict down to a level 1. Level 4, where the team member has lost all the hope, he follows the shuttle diplomacy. So he talk with the people in conflict separately, take the message here and there, try to smooth it up, and then once they start accommodating each other's view, then they bring at a level 3, then level 2, and at the end bring at a level 1 and resolve it. And if the people are behaving at the level 5, a word war level of a conflict, then Scrum Master need to take all necessary action to resolve the conflict. So there is no guideline. Do whatever you can in order to reduce, in order to bring this conflict level. Agile leadership. Now, servant leadership, a philosophy and practice of leadership coined by Robert. And it's like a servant leadership can be more likely associated with a participative management style or a laissez-faire management style, where you manage a team by serving them. And a servant leader demonstrates the characteristics of listening, empathy, healing, awareness, soft skills, persuasion, conceptualizations, stewardship, commitment to the growth of the people, foresightness, building community. So he has to demonstrate all the soft skills and commitment towards building a high performance and a sustainable pace environment. He need to focus on long-term goal. So everything what we do in an agile as a leader is in the context of servant leadership, because we serve the team, we lead the team by serving them. So what does it mean? We provide all the necessary help to the team. Whenever team has an impediment, the agile leaders are expected to resolve them rather than giving them a direction. Agile leader is there to help them. So he works. He demonstrates an behavior. I am at your service. So whenever you need me, call me. Rather than do this today and tomorrow you have to finish that. So rather than giving a command to the team, he says that these were the goals which we have agreed on an iteration. So these are the values which we value too, and I am at your service. So whenever you need me, call me. Or whenever you need my services, just order. So this is how the servant leader work. He serves the team and lead the team by serving them rather than commanding and controlling. And he practices self-awareness, empathetic listening, and commitment to the others. He really serves others so the people, the team can achieve their goal. Now there is another term, adaptive leadership. So once you are an agile leader, like beyond Scrum Master especially, the organization has a leader. So agile leaders should be adaptive. They should be open to change because that business environment is very dynamic. So adaptive leadership is a practical leadership framework that helps individual organization adapt and thrive in the challenging environment. So you need to adapt and change. And with an adaptation, we can accelerate our agility because agility is all about adaptation. I have been repeating adaptation and adaptivity throughout our throughout all the sessions. So adaptivity is an essential element of agility. Agile coaching. Now, balancing many things as you work with a different team, you need to true to the agile values. You need to understand the psychological and emotional aspects. You should have a way to model the desired behavior. You should have a way to model the behavior of teams so you can analyze them. You should have a non-intrusive intervention. So what does it mean? Like the coach should intervene, but the intervention should not be the intrusive interventions. So it should look like that you are assisting them rather than commanding or saying that do this, do that. The intervention should be in the form of assisting, coaching and mentoring. And learn what's really needed to get people to work together as a team, because you are responsible for creating high performance team. You are not responsible for delivery, but you are responsible for creating a team which can deliver. Skills for agile coaches. So they should have a skill, a people skill, working with the people, facilitation skills and system thinking skills. So a lot of time I get a question, do you think that Scrum Master should always come from the development background? Can the tester can become a Scrum Master or the project manager can become a Scrum Master? So I will always say that these are the three skills, these are the three dimensions one Scrum Master should have. Now you need to have a composition of all these three. And from my perspective, working with the people is the first skill which any leader should have. So he should have a skill where he can listen to the people, can give assertive feedbacks, ask questions, build trust and rapport. Because in Agile, in any organization, if we do not have trust, we end up having layers of processes to identify who is responsible for a given mistake. So the agile coach has to work on building trust in a team, because lack of trust will bring a good amount of tax on your project. Facilitate change. So the agile coach is a change agent. He need to have a skill which encourage people to adapt to changes. So he need to facilitate them. He need to facilitate various ceremonies. He need to help team so they can learn from their failures. He need to help them in resolving conflicts so they reach an agreement. So who is responsible for resolving conflict? The first responsibility of conflict resolution is to the people who are in conflict. So it is desired that people who are in conflict resolves it on their own, level 1. But if they cannot, then the agile coach has to come into the picture and non-intrusive intervention, and by building trust he should resolve it. We spoke about the models. Now the agile coach should have a system level thinking. He should be able to look at the big picture. He should be able to identify the lever for change. So lever for change is a triggering point where you put a small investment, you get a high return. So it's like a sensitive area. If you change that, you get a good amount of output. So he need to identify what all component are maximum value generator, and be it a team process, product wise team, be it a process wide. And he should have a good communication skill so he can communicate dangerous signals. So now if you are a good in domain, if you're good in technical, you may have a better system thinking because you can see the big picture better. Now coaching can happen at two levels, a group level and individual level. So what does it mean? At a team, you may have a stages where you need to coach the complete team, and that particular coaching intervention is called a group level coaching, where you are teaching in the conflict model to the complete team. So that's a group level intervention. So during the beginning and ending of the sprint, the agile coach can do a group level intervention, because that particular time you are doing various activities, various planning meetings, various retrospective meetings where the group is available. So those meetings can be used as an opportunity to provide a group level coaching, reiterating the Scrum values, reiterating the Scrum practices, reiterating the roles. During the sprint, if the coach finds a behavior which requires an intervention, again non-intrusive intervention, then the Scrum Master can provide an individual coaching during the sprint. So during the sprint, the Scrum Master identifies the issues, the areas which requires an attention, which requires an conversation, which requires an help. So he may perform an individual coaching during the sprint. So the Scrum Master, the coach, does an group level intervention during the beginning and ending of the sprint, and he does an individual intervention or individual level coaching during the sprint. Now agile coach failure modes. Now if you are a spy where you are just interested in investigating something and then picking that point and writing that point for a retrospective meeting, it's it's a wrong behavior. Seagull who looks everything from a very top, they don't get into the detail, very top. The opinionator, he has an opinion for all the things. Like he thinks that development should be done in this way, testing should be done in this way, and they are very strong opinions. Like if you have an opinion, what do? Your listening would be an internal listening, because you focus too much on your own opinion. You don't observe what's going on in front of you because you are listening internally. The admin, the coach who is too much involved in just administration work, just arranging the meetings, too much involved in admin work and not giving and required attention to the coaching and mentoring part. The hub, a coach who controls all the communication. Everything goes through him. Like if product owner wants to talk to the team member, it goes through him. If product owner wants to take a status of a given state, he is the one who provides the status. So all the stakeholders, all the communication happens through him, and that's a wrong thing, because the Scrum Master role, the coach role, is not the hub role. He has to mentor, coach, and create the team, and the team should be able to communicate and manage their work. A butterfly, which is like the behavior where he is not focused on any one activity. He keeps shifting from one point to another. So keep moving from one issue to another, not focusing on one thing. It's like a fractional assignment. So if you are involved in too many things, the Scrum coach may show a butterfly behavior. The expert, so a coach who feels that he is a technical expert, and whenever team is taking any technical decisions, he intervenes into it, and he says that this is the wrong thing, and he has a very expert and very strong opinion about it. So expert who feels that he is an expert of a given area, and for that particular area he start dictating how part of it. In agile, we expect the how part should be delegated to the team. Team needs to find it out how they want to work, what are the methods, what are the best approaches they want to take. So even if you are an expert of it, but you should not be doing an intrusive interventions. So these are the failure modes of an agile coach. So this concludes our this particular session. Let's take a quick recap. So what is the precondition for an collaboration? Cooperation. So before cooperation, collaboration cannot be achieved. Which conflict response agile coach prefers the least? Analyze and respond, because it brings the coach at a driver's seat. What are the 4 attributes of the emotional intelligence? Self, social, relation. self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. Usually individual coaching happens at mid-sprint or during the sprint. So this was our lesson on soft skill. Thanks for joining in.